Hello, this is Patrick at OneCNC West, and what we're going to do in this training video is demonstrate how we can easily program a part that requires multiple fixtures or multiple setups to manufacture. Now, for example, with this part, we might start with the part chucked up in a vise, and then machine the pocket, put the thread in there, perform the engraving, then pull it out of the vise, put it on a tooling plate, clamp it down, and then profile the outside. Alright, now what's important to know is that within OneCNC, you don't have to have a separate part file for each fixture or for each setup. You can have all of your different fixture manufacturing, all your different setup manufacturing, all located within one part file. So let me demonstrate this. In fact, I'm going to make this a little bit more complicated. Let's say we're going to start this project with the part on a Fidal. It's going to be on a vise, it's going to be on a Fidal machine tool. We're going to machine the pocket, we're going to put the thread in, and then we're going to engrave. Now when we're done, we're going to pull the part off of the Fidal, walk it over to a Bridgeport, stick it on a tooling plate on the Bridgeport, clamp it down, and then profile the outside. Okay? Sounds complicated, but it's very simple to do. Let me demonstrate. Right now, we already have one toolpath group accomplished. You can see here's all of our different machining operations. I'm not too concerned what's in there right now, but I want you to think of this toolpath group now as being a fixture. Alright, in fact, I'm going to take my cursor and double click on this. See where it says toolpath group? I'm going to call this Fidal, and I'm going to call this, instead of fixture, why don't we just call it setup 1. Okay? So now I've changed the name of this group to Fidal setup number 1. Now at the moment, we're still using a Brother post processor, and for our demonstration, we want to start on a Fidal machine tool. So again, I'm going to double click, and up here where it says post, I'm going to just left click here. We'll find the Fidal, left hand mouse click, and click OK. So now here's our first setup. It says Fidal setup number 1, and we're using a Fidal post processor. Okay, now what about the Bridgeport? How do we do that? Well, what we want to do is we want to create a brand new group. So to do that, I'm going to right hand mouse click and select new group. I'm going to double click that. We're going to call this Bridgeport, and we'll call this setup 2. I want to make sure I select a Bridgeport post processor up here. I'll just grab that one for right now, and we'll click OK. So here's a brand new group. Now there's no machining operations in here right now, but here's a brand new group called Bridgeport setup number 2. Now if I want to go back to the Fidal group, all I have to do is just right hand mouse click and select activate group. When that group is activated, only that group will be post processed, only that group will be simulated, previewed, and so on. So it's easy to select in between different groups. It's easy to activate them. So I'm going to activate this Bridgeport group again just by right clicking and select activate group. And now let's profile this. So we'll head over here, we'll go to stock. I'm going to do this a little bit quick because we've gone over profiling before in the past. Hit F3 there. I think I'm just going to use any tool. We'll just move through this as quick as we can. I'm going to say that looks good. So there's the profiling on the Bridgeport. Alright, so if I were to create a CNC program right now, it would only be created for the Bridgeport, and it would only be for the profiling. If I simulate or preview, only these operations within this toolpath group are going to be simulated or previewed. Alright, so let's create a program for the Bridgeport. I'm going to right hand mouse click and select post group. There's our Bridgeport post processor. All this looks good. I'll hit post, and I think I'll just call this setup. Yeah, setup 2 is fine. We'll call it setup 2. Click save. Alright, so here's the program for the Bridgeport. Alright, so this is saved on your hard disk, and you can send that out to the Bridgeport. Now if we want to create a program for the Fidal, we right hand mouse click on the group, select activate group. Now you can right click and select post group. The Fidal post is already selected. We're going to select post, and we're going to call this program setup 1. We'll click save on that. OneCNC is now creating a CNC program using the Fidal, and it's doing all the first work there, or all the work for the first setup. So you can think of these different toolpath groups as setups, and what's nice is these are all stored within one part file. Now let me show you something else that's kind of neat. At the top here within this first setup, you see we have the chamfering and the corner rounding. I'm going to say we don't need to corner round, so I'm going to right click on that and hit delete. Okay, and we'll verify that. Now let's say I want this chamfer operation to happen after the profile. It's easy to move commands from one group to another. Just highlight the command, hold down your left mouse button, drag it down where you want, and now we have that chamfer operation within this Bridgeport group Okay, so now within the Bridgeport group, we're profiling and chamfering. Of course, we'd have to repost process or recreate our CNC code, but you can see how easy it is to set up your different toolpath groups here. You can have as many groups as you'd like. All right, so as many fixtures and setups as you want. This also applies to when you have a part and you want to machine one side and then flip it over on the other side. You can use this same technique as well. Also notice there is a little minus sign next to this. Just allows you to collapse the group. Okay, that's just going to give you more real estate when working inside the NC Manager. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.